It was raining that night, thin, cold drops slicing through the silence. I parked down the street, watching the lights of my house blaze like a celebration of betrayal. Laughter spilled from the open windows. Glasses clinked. Music roared. And there, by the gate, sat my father, shivering, old hands wrapped around his knees, eyes clouded with disbelief. He looked up when I approached, drenched to the bone. "Son," his voice trembled, "why won't they let us in?" That single question, soft, innocent, soaked in pain, burned through me like acid. 040. For years, I thought I had life figured out. A loving wife. Supportive in-laws. A house I built from the ground up with every penny I'd ever saved. When my mother passed, my father became my only real family. I promised her on her deathbed I'd never let him live alone. So when my wife suggested he move in, I thought, finally, someone who understands. Her parents visited often. Too often. They had opinions about everything. How my house should look. What my father should eat. How I should behave. I mistook their meddling for care. But real care doesn't come with conditions. 125. It started small. My father stopped joining us for dinner. He'd sit alone on the back porch, staring at the garden. Once, I asked if everything was fine. He smiled weakly. "I think your wife's family doesn't like old people around." I brushed it off until the day I came home early. Laughter filled the living room, my wife, her parents, her cousins. Then I heard my father's door click shut. Moments later, her mother's voice floated down the hall. Finally, he got the hint. "That man smells like the grave. Your husband's blind, but we're not." Then came my wife's whisper, soft, cold, unforgettable. "He'll be gone soon. I'll make sure of it." 220. I froze outside that door, fists clenched, heart pounding. I wanted to burst in. God knows I did. But something inside me whispered, wait. From that night on, I became a ghost in my own home. I smiled, nodded, played along. But every word, every sneer, every insult aimed at my father, I recorded it. Hidden mics in the living room. Cameras disguised as decor. Every conversation uploaded to a private cloud, while they mocked the man who gave me everything. I quietly shifted the ground beneath their feet. The house, registered under my name, was refinanced quietly. Assets moved. Insurance beneficiaries changed. A trust created in my father's name. Every cent they thought they'd inherit was rerouted. 320. Then came that night. The party. My father called me, voice shaking. "They told me. There's no room for me tonight," he said. "Said the guests won't be comfortable." He laughed softly, but it wasn't humor, it was heartbreak. I left the office without a word. When I reached the house, the gate was locked. He sat outside in the cold, while inside they celebrated, drinking from my glasses, eating from my plates. And my wife. My wife danced barefoot on the floor. I built for our future. That's when I decided it was over. 405. Walked my father to the car and drove him to a warm hotel suite I'd booked earlier that week. "You'll sleep here tonight," I told him. "Tomorrow, everything changes." He didn't ask what I meant. Maybe he already knew. The next morning, I walked back into the house. The air reeked of arrogance and spilled wine. My in-laws were still there, half asleep on the couches. My wife looked up, startled. "You're home early," she murmured. "Not home," I said quietly. "Just visiting." I placed a folder on the table. Photos, recordings, financial documents, proof of their greed, their cruelty, their manipulation. Her father snorted. "You think this will scare us?" I smiled. "No, but the eviction notice taped to the front door might." 5 o'clock. They laughed until my lawyer walked in behind me. Then the color drained from their faces. The house was legally mine. The trust ensured that everything inside now belonged to my father. They had 30 minutes to leave. When my wife realized what that meant, she broke. "You can't do this." she cried. I can, I said. And I already did. They scrambled, shouting, cursing. Her parents packed frantically, shoving jewelry into bags. My wife begged, screamed, promised to change. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't move an inch. I just watched, 5:55, when they finally left. The silence that followed was heavy cleansing. I called my father. Come home, I told him. When he arrived, I handed him the keys. He looked confused, tears filling his eyes. This is your home, Dad, I said. Always was. Always will be. He tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. And as I watched, the years of humiliation faded, replaced by quiet, undeniable peace.